All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so with that, coming out of the executive session, we have the subordination agreement on case number 2019-0206. I would entertain a motion on that.
I'll make that motion that we go ahead and sign that subordination agreement.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then we also, in regards to that, and this needs to go to Jason. And we also have a release of lien on case number 2015-0213. I would move that we approve that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then the last thing that we discussed in the executive session was the letter of support. I would entertain a motion to approve signature on that.
I'll go ahead and make that motion.
We have a motion. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Julie. Thanks for your patience.
That's okay. Julie Hancock to canvass the votes, Bannock County Elections Administrator to canvass the votes for November 4th. This is the main canvas, but the county-wide, but I do have them all separated by taxing district if you wanted to look at those also.
So overall, we had 39%
Yeah,
show
once
up.
we, sorry I interrupted you.
No, you're good.
Once we enter the same-day voter registrations, our machines don't take that into account when our results management system doesn't take same-day voter registrations into account. So once you enter those, it actually dropped it down to 38.
Okay. How is that compared to historical?
Oh, pretty average. The turnout county-wide was about 6,000 voters more than in 2021,
Okay,
which was amazing.
right.
But as far as same-day voter registrations, maybe it was a little higher than usual.
Okay. Any other questions for Julie?
See, I think I asked that question the other day, is the new registration, new change,
Right.
where they come from? Are they move-ins? Are they, people all of a sudden become interested? I'm just
Well,
curious.
yeah, I think that it's probably a pretty good mix of people that are changing their name, because we need to have them in the system correctly, and we need to have them voting in the correct precincts. So people that have moved need to change their addresses. So we have a handful of those, well, probably several hundred of those 877 same days were changes, that people that were already registered to vote. So the total amount of registered voters in the city of Pocatello, just because we're working on a runoff right now, went up by about 300. So those we know were brand new.
All right, good. Okay, any other discussion or questions for Julie?
Thank you. Thank you
you.
very, very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Great team.
The best. You Davenport put a tissue in my pocket because I'm going to sit up here and cry my face off when I talk about our team. Because they're the best on the planet.
They are very good, very good. And they have a great leader, so thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Nope, nope.
Oh, that goes there.
Did I miss one?
Okay, then I would entertain a motion then.
I would make a motion that we go ahead and accept the election results as presented.
Okay, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Thanks.
Thanks.
See you soon.
Okay, yeah.
Can I take that with me?
Elise.
Elise Foster, subdivision planner. I have a replat of a single lot that they are turning into 2 lots. It was originally Lilac Sioux subdivision. They are renaming this Reynolds Acres. So it's just a total of 2 lots. They are not creating any new roads. They'll be accessing off of Touch Drive.
Why are they splitting? Are they putting 2 different building lots?
They have an existing home on one piece. They were able to meet setbacks and separate it into 2 lots so that they could build a home for themselves and sell their existing home.
Are they going to put a new well and septic in this one? as
They
well?
are going to, yes, and they've done testing already with Southeast Idaho Health.
Okay. Okay. Any further questions?
No. Make a motion, we go ahead and do the replot.
Okay, we have a motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Matt, Todd,
Where's touch drive?
I'm not sure.
What's that?
Where's touch drive?
It's
This side?
Leo Lish's place, over by there.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Matt Olson, Director of Bannock County Juvenile Justice, and Todd Mager, Chief Juvenile Probation Officer, is here with me today. Each year, county probation departments have to submit an annual report to the Department of Juvenile Corrections that reports on specific data. Part of the requirement is we review that with the commission and then also with the juvenile judge that oversees juvenile cases. So we're here today to review that report. So the first part of this report looks at diversion cases. So these would be cases that are diverted from formal court processing, or it's potential that they went to court on a citation, but instead of being placed on probation, they were diverted through what we call a prevention stipulation process, where they'd go back to the village and receive prevention services there. So all of our diversion services are operated through the village, our safety and assessment center. So for county fiscal year 2025, the first thing we have to look at is a snapshot. How many kids do you currently have on diversion contracts that you're supervising as of September 30th? And that was 197 cases. You can see the breakdown of race and ethnicity there on this report. We also look at the next section, B, how many were placed under diversion contracts by the county during that same reporting period. There was 125 males, 187 females, so a total of 312 kids were placed on diversion contracts. Just for perspective, in 2024 it was 387, and in 2023 it was 345. We're still diverting. We diverted 68.7% of the cases, the intakes that we had this year, so that's an incredibly high diversion rate, and I think one of the reasons why we're able to do that is our diversion programs really provide a lot of additional screening and assessment and case management to support individuals that really are eligible for diversion, but some of those kids may have higher needs, and we're able to get them into those diversion services. Then in section C, it's the breakdown by age. One of the things I want to emphasize here is with the village, there are a lot of kids that we can get services to now much younger. So you see 31 kids that were 10 and younger. Before we had the Safety and Assessment Center in operation, it was almost impossible to get those types of early intervention services to kids. And we would see those kids in court sometimes. The village can now take kids as young as 6. So we're seeing an increase in the ability to get services to kids earlier as their needs have been identified earlier. So been a great resource for our community for early intervention, and the team's done an outstanding job over there. And you can see that 86.2 of the cases that they've had that have been released from diversion have been released successful. Now that's diversion. There's a lot of other services and things they do over there that are really even ahead of diversion, upstream from diversion, that we think are impacting really the number of citations that are coming into court. And so I'll go over that here briefly. So any questions about diversion services for county fiscal year 2025?
I thought it was interesting, the age demographics. The 11 to 15-year-olds seems to be the hotbed.
Yes, it does.
How does that compare with a previous year or a trend? Because, you think, 10, 11-year-old, I'm just curious, do you see a reason for that? Maybe the homes themselves or whatever? And it's more of an opportunity just to help enlighten us on, maybe we are doing a great lot of good, catching them while they're early and keeping them out of there when they're 16 to 18 years old.
I'll have Todd respond to that first, since all these kids come through and are screened through the village. And I think he's got a good perspective on that and a good handle on that, and then I can follow up.
So I would say that the younger age kids, it could be maybe mental health, developmental delays type stuff, and then of course that home environment, and then not being in touch or in the right services a lot of times. But yeah, that's how I see it. There's kind of not every family situation is the same, right? But I would say with these younger youth, we're seeing our kids that maybe on the spectrum a little bit, or there is some pairing issues, parents not necessarily getting them to school or where they're supposed to be. But more than anything, it's usually coming from the schools. They're trying to catch them, which, if you can get them in and get services at age 10 instead of, as they've gone down the road and are thrown into the justice system at age 15, it's money well spent, and we're not dealing with them on the back end, trying to prepare everything that's gone on the last 4 years.
Thank you. Would you say there's a difference in the numbers versus pre-COVID days?
Well,
Or do you think
as far as diversion goes, or with the younger youth,
all of the above?
I would say that there has been, and I've got a screening report that shows the first year we opened. It has the severity of the different categories on the screening, and it was pretty interesting in that we were probably double or triple in some of those severe categories the first year, and then after that first year, things kind of started to come down, and I was like, this could be, are we doing these screenings different? But really we're not. They're computerized screenings. I think we had a population of youth that through COVID had mental and behavioral health issues and challenges, and there was no help and support for them, and we had this pool of kids, and once we started providing services for them, and they were in services, it's all come down. That's what I see. That's what I've shared the stats with the Urban Institute, who's doing that evaluability assessment, and they believe that's probably what it was. We had this population of youth that didn't have services for a couple of years, and so those issues, the risk gets worse and worse.
So would you say that these numbers are reflective of pre-COVID numbers, or?
It's hard to say because we weren't running those kids through the screening pre-COVID, and maybe Matt has. I do believe that COVID did increase risk factors for kids. Obviously, right? They were out of school, right? That's where they learn to, a lot of times, behave and socialize. And then I know that, when we opened the building, we were like 8 months out prior to opening up the village to get kids into services, and that's because there was an influx of families and kids needing support and help.
Overall numbers, though, in the system, are we back to pre-COVID numbers, or are we still above that?
So for diversion intakes, there was the 312 in county fiscal year 2025, 387 in 2024, and 345 in 2023, 341 in 2022. So we're down significantly in county fiscal year 2025 from where we were the previous coming out of COVID. In COVID, In 2021, as we were coming out of COVID, there was 232 diversions. Right in the middle of COVID, that county fiscal year 2020, there was 192.
Okay.
Our 18-year average for diversion is 336.
So we're on par with
Yeah,
the historical average.
Right, and 2025 even down from that. And the other thing is obviously some adjustment, but when you look at those COVID years, they kind of bring that average down a little bit just based on the circumstances that were there. But the 312 is down slightly from what our overall average has been over 18 years.
Okay.
I'm curious, I would guess that we have a better system through the school systems and everything else to actually get them into these kind of
Services.
programs. Do they evaluate what makes a school district say, yeah, we need to send them here? And I would assume that is a frontline import
Yeah, a
from
lot
you
of,
guys, is how well the school system is helping us up front.
yeah, a lot of the self-referrals are being referred through the school, through their community resource workers
Okay.
or their school counselors.
And I would think that that's a great emphasis, that we gotta catch them early.
But when you look at the citations that come in, and I do the citations also on a calendar year because the court keeps a calendar year document, or docket, about 50% of the cases referred to juvenile court each year are somehow, some way school-related. So it could be truancy, tobacco, petty theft, drug-related, malicious injury to property. So I think one of the things, we continue to work with the schools to say, how can we take some of these problems that become disorderly conducts, disturbing the peace, or tobaccos and batteries, and how can we effectively handle those through a disciplinary process? How can we potentially partner with you to handle those in a way that we don't have to formally charge kids? And I think, the school's been responsive in a lot of ways to do that, and that's something we'll need to just continue to work on with them. In fact, we have a meeting today to talk about attendance.
That's what it seems like to me, is your relationship with the school district has gotten better over the last few years. Would that be a fair assessment, or is it about the same?
I think we're providing them more resources, is what I think we've had a pretty good, I'll let Matt speak to it.
What I appreciate about the school district is we're always at the table together trying to figure it out. And I do think we have a good relationship. I think as they deal with problems and challenges, oftentimes they look to us and say, how can we partner, or how can we refer? What we don't want to do is become the disciplinary arm for the school district, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess that was the
So-
point of my question, where I think historically they had us be the disciplinary arm, and I think that's changing a little bit. Is that a fair assessment?
And I think so, and I think part of that's been communicated by the new prosecutor, that, these are the types of cases that we'll prosecute in juvenile court, and these other ones that could be handled through a school discipline process. And I think, again, that's where sometimes they may turn to the village and say, even though we're handling this through a discipline process, we need help getting connected to services. Children's mental health, under the Department of Health and Welfare, used to have a great team here in our region, and they were a big part of our stakeholders in terms of partnering with us. And I think for a lot of families, they could reach out to Children's Mental Health and they would help get them connected to services. My take on things, and Todd can tell me otherwise, is with the Safety and Assessment Center, really Children's Mental Health has been totally reformed to where we don't have that strong Children's Mental Health team operating under Health and Welfare, where we used to have 5 or 6 clinicians that would, be part of our multidisciplinary teams, or that families in the community could go to and say, hey, we need help, and then they would get them referred into services. Those families are now coming to the village because that really doesn't exist anymore, and it's the village now and their staff, the staff there, that screen them and get them connected to services in the community. The idea is they wanted community-based services, and I think we have that, but for families accessing that, connecting it, working through wait lists, filling out paperwork sometimes. Some families have insurance, but there's a gap, and so, or they're eligible for Medicaid, but they don't have Medicaid. The village helps work through all of those barriers and challenges, and that's, again, some of those you don't even see reflected in these numbers, because they're not necessarily diversions, they're just families coming in seeking help. So.
Thank you.
We're probably way over at 10 minutes, sorry.
We're asking questions, so it's not your fault.
All right. So next is supervised probation. So same statistics that we're asked to report on for supervised probation. So As of September 31st, our snapshot was 295. We're on probation. You can see, again, the majority of kids are going to be white, although there are racial and ethnic disparities for kids who are Native American. I think we're at about 12.8% of our probation population in Bannock County is Native American, and so really strengthening that relationship with the tribe is something that we need to continue to work on and make progress. Section C talks about the number of intakes that we had. We had 142 intakes with probation, 90 male and 52 female. Again, for perspective, in county fiscal year 2024, we had 185 probation intakes, so this is a significant reduction. We had 190 in county fiscal year 2023, and 195 in county fiscal year 2022. Our 18-year average is 216. So significant reduction in intakes for probation during this last county fiscal year. Age range, you can see that there's no 10 and younger there, and a lot of that is because, again, you'll see those kids being diverted at the village, which is really helpful. We had 8 kids that we were supervising who had suspended placements to Department of Juvenile Corrections. So they met criteria to be placed in Department of Juvenile Corrections. That was suspended, and they continued to be monitored and supervised and receive services here in the community. We released 176 kids from probation in county fiscal year 2025. 91% of those were released successfully. Any questions about probation statistics?
No.
Okay. We also report on the number of petitions filed in juvenile court for a county fiscal year. This does not include cases transferred in from other counties that are called change of venues. There was 489 petitions that were filed in the year. Again, this is one of those areas where there's a significant decrease. In county fiscal year 2024, we had 714 petitions filed. County fiscal year 2023, 733. County fiscal year 2022, 828. So we've had significant reductions, again, in this area as well in terms of total number of petitions. And I think part of that, to go back to the school district, is they are handling certain things like truancy or tobacco citations differently, and they've put additional intervention steps, particularly for tobacco type cases that they do in the schools. And so that really reflects in the numbers that I'm going to share with you next. So there were 224 probation violations filed that were formal affidavits of probation violations. There's a lot of other probation violations that probation officers work through informally with families, and 18 affidavits of contempt filed by probation officers on parents. So these are parents who are allowing probation violations, not reporting them, encouraging them. And so the court has jurisdiction over parents as well, so in those cases we can file affidavits of requesting contempt, excuse me. When we look at offenses on petitions, there were 85 felonies that were listed on petitions in county fiscal year 2025. That's a little bit of a decrease from the 95 we had in 2024 and 104 that we had in 2023. Our low year was 2020. This was part of the COVID year. That was 59 felonies. There were 353 misdemeanors filed in juvenile court. Last year, there was 496 in terms of county fiscal year 2024, and in county fiscal year 2023, 549. So again, significant decreases there, which you'd expect with the decreases in petitions. And then 112 status offenses. So those would be things like runaway, truancy, curfew. And there was 112 filed. This in county fiscal year 2025, 137 in county fiscal year 2024, and 141 in county fiscal year 2023. 185 in county fiscal year 2022. So saw significant reductions in status offenses filed in court as well. There were 35 tobacco citations that were filed in court and 23 alcohol citations that were filed in juvenile court. So, any questions about the offenses on petitions and petition numbers?
Are those alcohol and tobacco, are those like on school property, or that just happen to catch out
It's
in the
everywhere.
community?
The majority of the tobacco happens at school. And the school did change, I think they changed their policy somewhat last year. But I would also say a lot of these decreases, if you look, it's about the time the village started up as well.
The statute on that allows the juvenile judge or the court to make a determination as to how those offenses are handled, whether they're juvenile violations or merely just infractions. And historically, we've treated them like juvenile violations in order to get kids treated and address the issue before they become adults. Because an infraction just comes with a fine.
Thanks, John. When we look at recidivism, we're looking at a population that was released from probation 2 years ago, because recidivism is really defined as any new misdemeanor or felony level offense that somebody's adjudicated on within 2 years of being released from probation. We do look at that same population at 6 months and 12 months as well. So in that cohort group from county fiscal year 2023, there was 145 kids in that cohort group that we then look at to say who recidivated. 11 of those kids recidivated within 6 months. Once you're counted as a recidivant, at 6 months, you're a recidivant all the way through. Does that make sense? So it could be they recidivated at 6 months but never recidivated again, but they're going to show up at 12 months and they're going to show up at 24 months because they've already walked through that recidivism door. At 12 months, we had 21, which is 14.5%, and at 24 months, we had 33, which is 22.8, which is a little bit, it's about a 1.3 increase from where we were last year. So a little bit of an increase there.
So, question on that. Maybe I just misunderstood what you said. So if I'm part of that 11 that recidivated in 6 months, then part of that 33 at 24 is still the 11 that showed up at 6 months.
Correct.
So that 33 really is maybe 22 new offenders.
It could be, but they could have recidivated at 6 months,
Right.
and then they did it again at 12.
Right.
Yeah, but
Okay.
some of those kids in this 33 possibly did not again, that's 12 months and 24 months, but they've already been considered a recidivant.
Okay. Thank you.
We also look at that population and say, well, how many of those reoffended while on probation? So recidivism looks at after release, how many recidivated while they were on probation. 31 of those kids recidivated on probation, meaning they got a new offense, or excuse me, they reoffended while on probation. So they got a new offense, they were adjudicated a new offense while on probation. That was 21.4, a little less than where we've been in the past, but pretty close in terms of our average. So, any questions about recidivism or reoffenses?
Nope.
We had 177 kids that performed community service. That, again, doesn't include services that were provided by prevention kids that were at the village that did things, but it does include kids at the Youth Development Center. They completed a total of 2,929 hours of community service. We used to report on restitution on this report. They took it off there, but just to let the commission know, there was $22,720 collected in restitution in county fiscal year 2025 that was paid to victims in reimbursement for the loss they had.
Good. Good. Comments?
Thank you. We've been to the village, and you guys got some awards this year, and we just did our inspection over here, and thank you for all that you do. You got a good staff and good people. Thank you.
So, how many of the people that you deal with at the village are the same folks that you have at the YDC or the Youth Development Center? Is there a crossover, an overlap?
No,
So
so
completely separate?
yeah, the goal is to keep them separate because the villages are prevention, early intervention.
Okay.
The villages, the YDC is our highest need, highest risk kids. The goal is to not put those kids together because we'll actually increase the risk of lower risk kids. And so, yeah, now some kids that have been through the village can progress up through.
Probation and the IDC.
But the goal is to keep them, the current caseload is very separate. So.
It'd be interesting to see the statistics of how many people have been elevated from one to the other one.
So when I do our calendar year data and I look at intakes, that's one of the things I can look at, and I do look at is, okay, was there a previous diversion? Now they're on probation. And we look at, have they been on probation previously, those types of things.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'm curious if we'll have more kids want to go to the YDC with this new facility.
I'd like to go.
You know, it's,
We know a guy, Todd.
he does not meet criteria right now, but.
Right now. I'm glad you qualified that.
But I'll say, and I know Julie just talked about, but every one of these statistics represent a family, a youth, that somebody is sitting down and working with throughout the entire system. So it can start at a screening, it starts with law enforcement investigating, or it starts with sometimes a school counselor. But then it progresses on to a screening at the village, or it comes to the court and there's screening that takes place there, and there's defense attorneys, there's prosecutors, and you got the judge. And then somehow, some way, we get some jurisdiction over them, whether through a diversion or a probation. And then these families are meeting with our staff, who are doing everything they can to get them into the right resources and services. And I know we talk a lot about data, and that's important, but it reflects, I think, families getting help that they need. It reflects victims getting restitution. It's something that we always, want to always improve on and strive to make sure we're meeting those needs. But we do have incredible staff, and I think a lot of great resources and providers in our community that we partner with. I think one of the strengths of Bannock County is the stakeholders come together and work together to help meet the needs of these kids and families.
I would agree with that. I've been to a couple of your meetings with the stakeholders, and it is a dedicated group, and I'm very impressed. So, again, thank you for leading the charge and for doing a great job. Any other?
No, just great job.
Okay, I would accept a motion to approve the report.
I will move that we accept the report as given.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Can I grab that from you?
Yep. Matthew?
Matthew, HR and Risk, Matthew Phillips, HR and Risk Director. Before you, I just have the surety bond to sign to make effective. We sent out the application last week after you signed that, and it was accepted. This is for the Kimport Tower land permit use lease. So once you sign it, I will send it over to the Idaho Department of Lands.
Okay. Any further questions on that?
Just as an update for all of you. So Adam and I have been working still with a lot of paperwork with Day Wireless and BLM and all of this. So we're not complete yet. The title company is still holding the check until they get all signatures because Day Wireless, their attorneys wanted to look at a few things. She doesn't think that there's good progress. It's just, I'm surprised that government moved faster than the private sector.
Hey, right there, take one for the team, yeah.
So it's going to be a good thing. We still have great communication. Everything's moving. Adam filled out a ton of informational paperwork, nothing changing contracts or anything like that, just requests, like he's going to need to send this to him, proof of this. So there's a few things still that we're working on, but I think, Christy, that we'll be done with this in just a few days after this is done. But the title company is still waiting for a few signatures so they can release funds.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve this request then.
I'd make a motion that we go ahead and sign this $505,000 surety bond.
We have a motion.
Kinport.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, you give that to Matthew.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is we have 4 quitclaim deeds to sign. Any question on these deeds? We've talked about them. Now it's just the last straw.
Nope.
All right, well, I'll make the motion to go ahead and sign these quitclaim deeds.
Okay, we have a motion. No further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then we have a signature on the memo for the 2025 employee anniversary mission. Any discussion on that?
Some of these people have been here for a long time.
It's a good thing.
I'd make a motion that we go ahead and sign the memo.
Okay, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Next is memo from Dan Kendall to dispose of some wooden benches that are 12 foot, 9 inches long. Coming out of the
Don't forget the 9 inches.
Yeah, that's right.
I would move that we go ahead and approve the authorization to dispose of those assets. Is there any further discussion on that? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Next is another one from Dan Kendall. We had a work service agreement with Idaho Power. Evidently, there was some, was it phone line or something that wasn't buried as deep?
Power lines. that
Power
weren't
line,
Deep enough
yes.
up to IDC.
And we discovered that. Headwaters performed the work, and it was their error, so they paid for everything. So this is just us authorizing the work kind of after the fact, but it is no cost to the county for that change.
Told them it either had to be done before next Wednesday or after next Wednesday.
Not during?
I know, middle of our ribbon cutting.
Okay, any further discussion on that?
No.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion to approve that
I would
signature.
move that we go ahead and authorize that signature on that expenditure change.
Okay, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. That's all that. Next is the commissioners' proceedings from October 2025. Any discussion on those? Then I would move to approve the commissioners' proceedings from October 2025. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Then we have resolution, we have two resolutions, 2025-81, authorizing the transfer of real property to the ITT board, and resolution 2025-82, authorization to remove roads from assets and road maintenance map. Is there any discussion on those two resolutions?
I'll move we approve both those resolutions.
Okay, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Come in and sign that.
I missed one. See, Ernie didn't sign.
Well, I thought you were just giving them to me and then go down the row.
I was.
I wasn't sure how the action goes anymore.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's that way, sometimes it's this way.
All right, we have the claims agenda and the approval and signature of certification of meeting minutes for November 4th. Is there anything on the minutes or the claims agenda that we have questions, concerns, or comments about?
I just handed Commissioner Bullock, that's the state unemployment, or workers' comp, I mean, state insurance fund. And instead of agendizing it, it is a claim, so.
So who'd you hand it to?
That's because I didn't say Ernie, it threw me off.
She was looking right at you, were calling me a name. And then I'm looking at this and it has Kedron's name on it. I'm
I know, it's hard to get them to change anything. I just figured I'd have you guys just authorize that while you're doing all the other.
Bottom paper?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion that we go ahead and approve those items and on the consent agenda.
Okay.
I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, that was fun. Thank you. We have a motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm still thrown off. With that,
See if we're awake.
yeah, with that, we will stand adjourned for